first time audio deer ever, baby. Let's go.
So, episode 7.
Is it 7?
It was episode 7.
Number 7. All right.
That we...
Old number 7.
Lucky number 7. Lucky
That's
for us.
That's it.
Lucky us. Because we got to interview Mike Dukart from the Deer Society, from the Illusion Systems, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah,
Big buck killer.
Yeah, big buck killer. We got to speak to him for a good little while, and I'll go ahead and tell you, it was one hell of a conversation.
Yeah, it was good. They said, they say don't meet your heroes, but he did not disappoint.
No, he didn't.
No.
Not at all.
Hey, you watch his videos and stuff online. We get on here and start talking to him. He's the same exact person.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
I mean, he sat here with us and talked deer hunting for damn near an hour.
Yeah, hell, we stopped. Well, we stopped recording, and then he stayed on there and talked with us for another 15 minutes.
Yeah. So we had a real good time, and we really do appreciate Mike taking time out of his day to come on and speak with us, and appreciate all the guys at the Illusion Systems and the Deer Society, because they put out some jam up content. I'll make sure to leave some links down below for everything. So yeah, episode 7, guys. It's where it's at. It's also brought to you by Foggy Buck Outdoors. Make sure to use code WICKEDHUNT for 20% off.
Yep, 20% off the entire website. That's your feed, mineral, food plot, seed, and your Huntworth gear.
Everything.
And I will stand by that Huntworth gear till the day I die.
That's a hill he's going to die on.
Yes, it is. I just got done washing all mine in the phase. So that part of the process is complete. We're ready to get in timber now. We're
ready to do it. His bow is actually on the way. Can
it will
y'all
be
believe
here
that?
Saturday. Dude, that scared the crap out of me at first. I sent them that email, and they're like, yeah, it'll be built in like 6 weeks. What? You gotta build it? It's the 2024 model. What is going on? And then they're like, okay, it'll ship no later than October 8th. And I'm like, oh, God, it'll be freaking November before I start hunting. And we go to Ohio in November.
Yeah, so that's like crunch time.
Yes, I was getting nervous.
Oh.
I woke up this morning and I got an email that my bow and the wrist, which is actually my dad's wrist, and that's a different story. But yeah, I got it shipped out this morning, and then I got another notification actually on the way over here to record this that it'll be here Saturday. So
game on.
Yeah,
it is game on.
Palmetto Permission Strings. I said it right that time?
You didn't.
It was close enough. It was a lot better than last week. Text Zach down there. He's our bow guy. I was like, listen, if it's here Saturday, I'll call out of work Sunday. I mean, I don't care. He's like, no, I got church and all. Let's just do it Monday. I said, okay. Well,
it's Palmetto Precision Strings.
What did I say this time?
You still had the permission in it.
Yeah, persimmon, precision. English.
Anyway, Mike Dukart interview coming up. Appreciate everybody watching. Make sure to subscribe, like. Go check us out on Facebook, Instagram if you hadn't already. We got a lot of good content coming your way. Really appreciate you guys. Check it out.
Welcome to the Extinguisher Instructional Video Series. I'm Mike Dukart, creator of the Extinguisher Deer Calling System. More than just hunting a buck, you become tied to this animal. There's something between you. And to see him change throughout the years the way he did and come into his own this year and become this core buck, it adds that much more to the hunt.
Sure as heck, he shows up. And he comes in and he just plays the script. He walks in the flock, works his way over, gets a drink of water, goes broadside, and I squeeze it off.
Let's take a look at what we call the throat tube extension. Now, this tube was designed to be flexible, and what that allows you to do is actually change the directions of where you want the sound of the call to go. which we'll get into a little bit later when it comes to advanced calling tips and strategies.
The satisfaction level is just, I'm completely elated. And this is literally one of the most memorable deer hunts that I've ever had.
Oh man, there he is. Patches. The double patch. Wow. It's just a gorgeous buck.
Man, we are so glad that you agreed to come on and speak with us. I mean, you have been an idol of ours for a long, long time. I've watched a bunch of your material. I know for a fact Hunter's watched a bunch of your material. We are just appalled that you would take the time out of your schedule and sit down and talk with a bunch of nobodies here from South Carolina. So, sir, we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, I wouldn't underestimate yourself. You're reaching people, and I'm excited to hear what you got going on and answer any questions and have any discussions you want. So,
Well, I do appreciate it, man. So for anybody out there that's listening to this who's been under a rock for probably the past 20 years, who are you? What's your name, and what do you do?
okay, well, my name is Mike Dukart, and I founded a number of companies actually in the hunting industry, but the one that most people know about is Illusion. I invented the Illusion extinguisher deer call, and kind of went on a quest from there. We basically, it's one of those stories that you hear about where we started the business out of my basement, and it grew to one of the larger, or probably the biggest distributor of deer calls, and one of the,
I would agree with that.
one of the bigger distributors of hunting information through the other company called the Deer Society. And so really what happened is it started with many years ago, 20, 30 years ago. I really was into waterfowl. I know a lot of people may not know that, but I did a lot of calling, competition calling. I had an outfitter service, blah, blah, blah. And as time progressed, I was going to build this full company of all game calls, like a Primos or a Loman back in the day,
Right.
or, something like that. And so then I came up with this deer call. And the deer call took off so big that we literally quit doing everything else. So that's really the only call that I have now is the deer call. And
That's got to be a good feeling.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, it
it
is
was
a
good.
Yeah, it is a good feeling, And I think a big part of that when I first started, my thing was to teach people. Well, really, my thing was to try and do everything I could to make hunters successful. Okay, that was the core mission, if you will. And so when I created these calls, I'd go out and I'd study the animals for like 4 years, and then I would actually take the sounds and everything, and I would reproduce exactly what I was hearing out in the outdoors. And once I started getting those sounds down, then I would listen to them and I would kind of see what their behavior was. And so really, what I was learning how can I communicate with them without freaking them out, making them think that I'm actually another. In this case, we're talking about the deer call, but it started with a goose call. So I had this goose call. There it is. Yeah, that's it.
That's all we run.
2.0, that's the next question.
No, not yet. Every time we look, it says they're sold out.
Yeah, that and the your all new phase system. We've been trying to get our hands on it as well.
Well, anyway, so part of that whole process, of learning and studying the animal's behavior, I realized that if you look at communication as a whole, body language, postures, deer communicate highly through scent, and so I continue to learn every year. That's no joke.
You know what I mean? We learn something new every year, and things change. You know, just like we as humans communicate differently. You know, the geese. If I tried going out and calling in a flock of geese like I did back 20 years ago, it wouldn't work because
Right.
Yeah.
they've changed and they've adapted. You know, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just an ongoing learning process. And then I thought, you know what? When I know all this stuff, but nobody else does, so I'm going to date myself. I put it on VHS tapes and sold it with. So then I found
Starting
out
it out.
that, you know, really what people really wanted that information. And
Yeah.
you know, that's how Deer Society was born. So it's just like, you know, let's just give them as much as we can give them. And
Right.
you know, because there's no one thing when it comes to
No.
hunting. There's no one thing. I can people you know, email me and message me all the time saying, "Oh, I got this buck and this and that," and they tell me the situation, and I try to analyze it and you know, give them a tip if I can. But really, there's just so many possibilities, and you have to kind of
Right.
Yeah.
see how the deer reacts. In fact, you know what? A great video or hunt. We do hunt breakdowns on the Deer Society. That's probably our
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
most
Yeah, we've seen them all.
We're kind of up to date on 'em.
So the new one, Patches, is a buck that I shot last year. Kind of
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, he is an absolute stud.
yeah, it actually talks about that. You know, learning the deer's behavior, learning that deer's personality. It was a huge impact on me being able to get him. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and yeah, so that's the long short story of where we are right now. We average over 90 million minutes of video view online every year. You know, we're selling hundreds of thousands of extinguishers every year to every, you know, retail outlet that has hunting, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we're lucky.
Well, you're definitely living the dream, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, going back to the education thing, I can't speak for Brandon, but for myself, that's really how I found out who you guys were. You and JJ and everybody else is I grew up here like a lot of people down here where we're from grew up. You go sit in the stand at 100 yards with your dad or your granddad's rifle, don't matter what the wind is or anything else, and look at a corn pile for 2 hours and then go home if you don't see anything.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the stand one morning and there's got to be more to this. So I picked up a bow when I graduated high school and started looking at videos to learn, for a lack of better terms, tactics to be more successful.
Yeah.
And I have found you guys and Ben Rising to be the best ones to look at for that kind of stuff. And that's why I'm where I am today.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. And how to use the calls, how to use the extinguisher, how to use the black rack, because we never done any of that. And that was another big hill we had to climb when learning how to achieve big deer around here. Because we like to say that deer don't deer around here, because it's nothing like you see on TV down here in South Carolina most of the time.
Yeah, and here's the deal, just because there's, big deer in Iowa doesn't mean that they're not trophies in other places. And that's why
Right.
you've heard me, and I want to say we're the first ones that really started pushing it, but it was the age. We focused on age
Yeah.
more than inches, and a lot of people, you hear the comments online and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But, to me, age is king. And a perfect example of that, watch the Beamer hunt breakdown video. Unbelievable. Probably, and JJ's the killer in the family. He kills all the big bucks, by the way.
Yeah, Beamer, he was 8.5.
Beamer
Is that right?
8.5 years old. And,
Right.
dude, he was so smart. Yeah, and just to shoot a deer that size, no matter what that score. But, I mean, he turned out to be just a beast,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was a monster.
Oh, his antlers were so thick and so hard that Wisconsin swamp buck. I mean, that thing could take on
Oh, yeah.
any deer, no matter how many inches they had. And he'd snap their rack, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why we
Massive.
wanted to get him out of there.
Right.
But
So was he a real bully in his behavior?
yes, he was, and he was very stocky, and he had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
muscle, and so. And to be honest with you, it's not even that as much as it is attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when I said the personality of the deer has a big impact on how to hunt them. And once again,
Oh, yeah.
go back to Patches. Patches had that one personality, and it was pretty obvious what he was going to do. You know,
Yeah.
he was going to try and stay in that area, and he did. He tried to take it over. Even as a youngster, he was taking on our target bucks, who I'm sure they beat him up pretty good, but you know, he just
Right,
moved
yeah,
on,
still.
and he never left. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you another deer, and I have watched the hunt break down. I cannot tell you how many times. And he is a giant too in his own rights, but Andre the Giant. That deer has blown my mind every time I watch the video. It is ridiculous how much body-wise, how much bigger he was than the other deer up there.
When we were looking at the trail cam photos, the reveals that we use, JJ had you know, a decent buck that we kind of knew, and he had that buck in the exact same position as when Andre came in. And so JJ sends me the picture. He goes, "This buck is a giant." And I go, "What do you mean?" And he showed both exact photos of the same deer standing there, and he kind of superimposed them over top of each other. And how tall that deer was. He reminded me
Yeah,
of
that
like
stuff blows my mind.
one of those great big race horses. That's like
Yeah.
big, tall, lean, and just a giant, you know. And
Yeah,
that's
he was just a
how
big
he-
Clydesdale.
Yeah. He was the Clydesdale
Yes.
of the deer family.
Yes. Yeah. And tell me, I'll tell you what, that boy's got some mass on those antlers.
Does he?
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
looking at it on video, his body size, in my opinion, kind of, and like I said, this is looking at it on video too. His body size almost took a little bit away from the rack.
It totally does, because when JJ brought in a shed of him, I just went, "Oh my gosh, that thing's got some mass to him," you know. After he had got the picture of him, he didn't shoot him that year because he felt he was young. And then the next year, after he picked up them sheds and brought him in, it's like, dude, he's definitely a shooter. There was no question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. That's always been one of my favorites ever since it came out, just
Yeah.
because of the sheer size of that deer.
Andre's pretty cool. Probably the most famous deer of all time, Deer Society wise for sure, and maybe even on the internet video, I would have to say it's Mr. Maybe.
Mr. Maybe,
Yeah.
no
Mr.
doubt.
Maybe is just. I walk in the office and there he is hanging on the wall every time I walk in, and even no matter who it is, when they walk in and they're looking on, we got two walls. We got our wall, which is our Minnesota, you know, Wisconsin type bucks. I think
Yeah.
a North Dakota buck on there in full velvet, but you look on the other side with all of our pro staff, Ben Rising being one of them, by the way.
Yep.
And Mr. Maybe just he's the king of the wall. Yeah,
Oh, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
yeah, yeah.
Between him and the one Dan Kaufman killed.
Oh, that
Do y'all have y'all? You guys have his replica in the office?
absolutely.
Oh man.
Man.
Oh god, I bet that thing is giant. It's over 300 inches, right?
Yeah, the funny part about that one is, 300 inches just kind of blows your brain, you know.
It does.
But I just remember Dan, that video, that when it came in and he pulls that thing up and he can hardly talk. He's just breathing so hard. He's just like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's something, you know. And I'm like, Jesus, look at that thing. It's just ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't imagine. Yeah, 300 inches.
Yeah.
Like you said, it just blows your mind. I mean,
Yeah.
down here hunting in South Carolina where we are, I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around a 150.
Yeah.
And you're talking about double that.
But once
Yeah.
again, you're talking about inches and you're talking about genetics. You know, the deer aren't as big.
Right.
You're not going to get necessarily the genetics in the rack. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it doesn't mean a lot to go shoot a nice buck. I don't know what
Oh, yeah.
a good trophy buck is in South Carolina. If it's 150, 160, that would be probably like our 170s to 180s would be my guess.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah.
it's got to mean just as much, right?
Oh, it does.
It does.
There's no doubt about it. Because, I mean, it goes back to what you said earlier. It's age over inches.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
So, I mean, down here, the biggest age and inch-wise buck that I've killed, he was just over 120 inches. But he was right at 6 years old. 5.5, 6.5 years old.
There you go.
And he's hanging on my living room. I'll show him proudly to anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
now
And it's, it's just different areas. The
Yeah.
deer, they just generally don't get that big down here.
and a lot of that is there's a lot of people around here that if it's got bone on its head, it's pretty much dead
Yeah.
around here. I mean,
Yeah, we do
there's
have
a
a lot
lot.
of
There's
that.
not a whole lot of deer management on our little, I guess you can say 60 to 80 acre place that I have, family land. We haven't killed a buck in 5 years because we've been just watching them, just letting them grow, just see what we got. And this is our first year that I feel like we actually have mature enough deer that we can take a few out.
Well,
I know for sure we got at least a 5-6 year old. He's somewhere right around. He's the biggest deer on the property. Right now, I'd probably guess him right around 180, maybe 200 pounds.
that's a big deer, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deer. I mean, our bodies up here are, well, in Canada they're even bigger. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shot a doe one time that field dressed at 126, and she was a giant, dude. That doe was
Oh, yeah.
huge. You could hang it from
Yep.
the rafters in your garage, and her feet were almost touching on the deal. You know,
Golly.
she was one.
Yeah,
big
that's a
doe.
big doe.
But you get a good buck up here, and once again, it's genetics, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to think of what deer it was that had a smaller body but had a nice rack. But anyway, you can shoot a deer up here, and you know people say, you know, oh yeah, he went 200 pounds field dressed. Well, it definitely can happen. There's no question about it. But you know,
Right.
that's usually a fishtail.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're big. They're big up here.
Yeah, that's why me and my dad, now I'm born and raised down here. Hunting down here is the only place I've ever hunted. But we've got a lease in Ohio also.
Oh, well, then you know
And
big
just-
deer. Yeah.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I've killed my biggest buck to date up in Ohio. And I killed him last year in November. And we've covered him on a previous episode, so I won't go too deep into it. But, I mean, it was one, scent control, and the black rack and the extinguisher.
Oh yeah.
That's what killed that deer. There's no doubt about it. And that's, ever since I found the extinguisher, that's the only call I've ran for, God, probably, ever since I decided I was going to get serious and actually bow hunting.
Yep.
Instead of just hunting over a corn pile.
Yep. And Hunter's actually the one that turned me on to it. Whenever I started dipping back into bow hunting a couple years ago, and once I did, I just fell back into it hard, back like I used to be. So, and I watched y'all's videos on how to use it, and just learning how to do all them types of deer calls from mature buck to young buck, doe and the buck together. Because, I mean, down here, we never done that. We didn't take tactic and strategy into plan.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great to hear that. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a little inside info on the design part of that. Is the extinguisher was designed, the original one, and then I changed it just a shade, one of the reeds, because we'd have to kind of tweak the tooling and stuff like that. And I tweaked the reed a little bit on it probably about 2 years ago. And then this new 2.0, we've done a little bit more tweaking even again. But it's designed kind of like a goose call, like a competition goose call, in the way that if you practice, and if you learn how to blow the call the right way, the variation of the tones and the volumes that you can get out of it is way more than just like blowing on the call. You know,
Yep.
you blow on the call and it just goes back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But if you get the call in there and you chamber it correctly and you change your air flows and add a little bit of volume in your mouth as you're putting that air through, you can get that deeper guttural.
Yeah.
And then you can
Right.
squeeze it and add a little pressure here and a little pressure there, and you can do things that you don't realize can be done with the call. And so
Yeah.
that's what we're going to start getting into, because I've never really talked about that much. You know, we just say,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
here's a doe bleat. This is what it means. This is what I did on that deer. Oh, here's a new sound we've
Yeah.
heard. I just reviewed JJ's video of the buck that he shot last year, and it's actually a calling. It'll be a calling one, and it's called.
Okay.
Well, I probably can't say it. Well, by the time you air this, nobody's going to know anyway. But it's called,
Yeah, there you
it's
go.
called
It'll be
Clicker
good.
Buck, Clicker, and the
Okay.
audio,
Okay.
the audio in that hunt breakdown is going to be very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That
It's gonna be
kind of the way he called that the clicker buck. That kind of reminds me of yours from last year, your first buck, because he come in. I don't know if you've seen that episode of. I believe it's episode 1.
fun. Yeah, it's the very first podcast.
Yeah.
I sent you that video. I sent it to you on Facebook.
Okay,
Where-
yeah, I watched that. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was you couldn't see the deer at all
Right.
because of
You
how much
couldn't see
green
it. You
you
could
still
hear
got
it.
on the
Yeah.
tree. But the
Yeah.
audio of it was like, I never touched the extinguisher that morning. It was all that buck. Everything in that video
Yeah.
was just that buck that morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, I heard that and I was like, everything. Once you actually hear it, like you can sit here, you can watch the videos, you can practice with the calls, whatever. But until you're actually spending the time in the timber, you can hear it coming from the deer and you can apply it to, okay, then it's all starting to connect.
Yep.
That's when you're really going to, in my opinion, that's when you're really going to start to advance in your calling.
Absolutely.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I there's a number of things that I've experienced out in the timber. I mean, we could go on for days, but I remember one time I was sitting in a stand and I hear this meow, and I'm like, oh man, the neighbor's sitting right next to the fence line. He's got my deer call. He's blowing the doe bleat, and I was just like, my hunt's over. It's dead. And I'm
Right.
just sitting there, and I look over there and this big old doe come walking out. She did it again. I'm like, dude, that sounds exactly like the deer call. And it's just like, I thought somebody had my deer call and was sitting in a stand across the fence line. And that's just where I'm like, yeah, that's good stuff. Now, one thing I do want to bring up, and we get a lot of comments about this, and maybe you'll find this out, and maybe it doesn't even apply to you, I don't know. But the buck sounds out of the extinguisher are probably I'm going to just say one of the more wimpy and lower volume.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to touch on, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Wimpy and lower volume of almost all deer calls out on the market. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a strategic reason for that. Okay. The reason is because I would say 90+% of every deer call out on the market is 10 times louder than a deer. Okay, so
Yeah.
think about that. We're having our conversation, we're having a good time, and we're interacting well. What if I would have came on the podcast and went, Hunter, what are you crazy? What's going on over here? You guys would have went,
That's the military coming out
Yeah.
in him right there.
what's going on, And that's what happens
Yeah.
when you try to call the deer. Because when the adrenaline's going and you got a call that goes 10 times louder than the actual deer, and he's within visual distance, and you hit on that thing and and because like he's walking away and you panic and you want him to come back and
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he looks back and you're like, oh, here we go. And then he just kind of turns back and wanders away. And it happens over and over and over and over again. And you hear people saying, deer calls don't work, and I know the difference because, that's I built my life around communicating with deer and different animals. But I wish I could just sit down and talk to them and explain it. That, you can't take it back once you say it. So if you overdo it, and you startle the deer, or if you freak the deer out, or if you even sound more dominant than the deer you're trying to shoot in some way, you can lose a lot of deer. And I've watched deer that got 160, 70-inch racks. They're just a bunch of wimps, and they don't want nothing to do with going face to face. Now, that's not a lot of them, but there's a few of them out there like that. And so think about it this way. If you know you got to get into a fight with somebody, or if you have to, dominate a situation, no matter what that situation is, as a human, and you see some little wimp, you are not going to be worried about going face to face with that person. But if you see some giant, I'm going to use Chris as my example. Chris is a combat Marine. His arms are about that big around, and he's a pretty intimidating guy with that large, heavy voice, Marine, And anyway, so if you see somebody intimidated like that and they're upset with you or yelling at you, you're going to think of, okay, how do I want to deal with this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I'll
maybe
see you later. I'm sorry.
And I'm gonna just hey, no problem, sorry, or whatever the situation is. You don't know, but that's what I'm trying to get across. It's just that's why the call was designed that way. Now, with that being said, I got a new one coming out. But
outside of the 2.0, another new one?
Well, that 2.0 is just the extinguisher, which, by the way, has been responsible between the extinguisher, the black rack, and the phase system. And I want to bring up the scent control for you guys down south, too. Someone has shot a deer over 200 inches every single season using our product. And
I heard that in y'all's 100th episode.
Yep, and they actually literally contact us and said, hey, dude, this deer was directly downwind, no joke, blah, blah, blah. If I hadn't have been phased out like that system's designed, there's no way I shoot this deer. Or I rattled him in. Well, the Kaufman buck was rattled in with a black rack. That's 300 inches. And then, of course, the extinguisher just calls deer in. It just does.
Yeah. Going off of what you were saying a few minutes ago as far as the tone difference in the extinguisher compared to any other deer call, that's, in my opinion, I believe that's why it's been so successful for us down here. Because most of your grunt calls on the market are going to sound like, a big
nasty
5-6-year-old in Iowa.
Yeah.
And we're down here in South Carolina where we don't have those kinds of deer. So it's more realistic no matter where you are in the country. And I believe that's why we've had such great success with it down here.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that feedback, and I want to tell you, I got some feedback from a gentleman I got. He's a professor I want to say it was from Colorado or somewhere around there. But he sends me an email, and he says, this is so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And it's been many, many years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, I should have saved that email, by the way. But he said, I just want you to know, I'm not asking for anything, not anything. He says that we were doing an independent test on animals, and deer communication was one of them. And he said, we tested all the deer calls out on the market. And he said that your deer call came back with the real life frequencies comparison to a deer. Your call had more exact pitches of a deer than every single call that we purchased on the market combined.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
And I just went, wow. And this was not long after we did a field test with it was a club called North American Hunting Club. It's been a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent out, hundreds of calls to people. And you can't talk to the people. You just send them the stuff and you get the feedback. And so I sent everything out, did it according to their, way they're supposed to do it. And it comes back and the guy calls me. He goes, Mike, what's going on? I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, you just came back with a 99.6% approval rating on a deer call. He goes, and the only one that had the 1 point less of full approval was a guy who said it needed a lanyard because I didn't send the lanyard with them. I just sent the calls out, and that was the only complaint. And that's just
Man.
like, wow, you know.
As far as calling wise, you guys have definitely got it figured out.
Oh yeah. And
There's-
I wanted to ask you, who was the brainchild? Who come up with the idea of the 2 racks for the black rack? Was that you?
So yeah, actually the black rack was a product. Okay, so do you guys remember Rod White? Rod White's got a number of hunts in the thing. And Rod White, I'm just gonna tell you right now, Rod White forgot more about deer, you know, than I know. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know a little bit, but Rod's just a whole nother level. And the guy's, he's just got that extra brain function, I guess you could say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That hyperactivity brain function. And he's an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time medalist, I think a bronze and a gold in archery. And Rod's just a hardcore deer hunter. And anyway, JJ, we were at a hunting show, and he's seen him in a parking lot. It's an outdoor show. He goes, Dad, that's Rod White over there. And I go, well, who's Rod White? He goes, oh, he's an Olympic gold medalist. He says, we should go over and talk to him, give him a deer call. And I go, sure, let's go over there. So we go over there, and Rod's, you know, JJ, hey, you know, you're Rod White. Yeah, how you doing? I'm JJ, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, yeah, this is my dad, Mike, and, you know, we make the extinguisher deer call. And he goes, I've been looking for you guys. And Rod had been using the call, and we didn't even know it. And I was like, well, then we built kind of a bond and a relationship, and he was part of the pro staff and speaking and that kind of stuff. But yeah, Rod is a big part of you know, helping out. So Rod actually was using this rattle system. He goes, you guys should do something in rattling. I go, well, what do you got? He goes, I got these racks, and I forget what they were called, but anyway, a different call company was making them, and he said, you got to get them. So I actually knew the call company, I knew the guy, and I said, so what's the scoop on your rack? I said, are you selling them? Are you gonna, you know, try and distribute them? What's your deal on them? He goes, no, actually, he says, I got a new rattling system. He says, why, you interested in it? I'll sell you the rights to it, and blah, 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 blah. So I actually got it from a different call company. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then we made changes to it because Rod's like,
Right.
okay, it needs to do this, it needs to have that, it needs to do this. And then I didn't like the fact that it looked like an antler color because that to me was dangerous. And I said, let's make it black. And then I go, hey, let's call it the black rack.
There you go.
And so
And history was made.
yeah, and so then I built my own tooling and stuff and had the rights to it, improved it, made it better. Started marketing how to use it properly, stuff like that, and big deer were going down. And yeah, that's where the black rack came from. Now, what made the black rack famous was Uncle Si on Duck Commander.
Really?
That's what made it famous. Well, I shouldn't say made it
The
famous.
black rack,
That's what
Jack.
made it go viral. So Uncle Si has the black rack, and he goes, there's 2 deer here. One full set of antlers, another full set of antlers. They come together, and then they fight. That's the black rack, Jack. And it went viral. It went viral. I mean, we couldn't keep up with them. Oh,
That is crazy.
It's crazy what, you know, yeah, celebrities can do for your products. I'm not that guy. We don't, you know, go out and pay celebrities to do our stuff for us. We look for pro staff and we partner with them. So if they're bringing something to the table for us, we're bringing something to the table for them. Whether it's Ben or whoever it is that's out there. In fact, I would say a lot of the hardcore hunters that we have on our team, you know, probably got a high level of celebrityhood and platform by being on the Deer Society.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'll tell you, Ben's got brought up a couple of times. I just kind of want to touch this real quick, and then I want to dive into the phase system a little bit more.
Okay.
There's a lot of hunters overall in the country, but it's still a relatively small community.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you kind of how small it is. So I told you that me and my dad and 2 other guys have a lease up in Ohio. Well, the guys that help us manage it up there are Travis and Tim Woods. Tim Woods has been Rising's best friend,
Okay.
and they've been hunting together for years. Over the spring and in the summer, I was up there building box blinds with Tim Woods. So it's just, the hunting community is small as a whole.
It's very
and
small.
You'll meet a lot of good people in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and on that point, I'm going to give people listening some advice. Anybody that's in the industry or wants to get into it, and you know what does being in the industry mean? I don't really know, but one thing that I learned early on is no matter what happens, you know, and a lot of things can happen to just blow you up, no matter what you're doing. I mean, you've watched a lot of rise and a lot of fall, and you've just watched things that just aren't good. And then there's people that, you know, they're always out there, you know, saying things and stuff like that. And you just gotta wear a little bit of, just let most of that bounce off you. But my tip is, no matter what happens to you in your relationships within the industry, when you're in the industry, never, ever, ever burn a bridge. Because I can tell you 2 or 3 times where I've been burnt, it came back around, and they ended up being important relationships. So.
Oh yeah, and it will.
It will. So don't get emotional about business. Don't get emotional about things, and don't talk bad about people, and don't challenge people, and you know, just let it roll off you. Especially in today's world of social media, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that feels kind of like a downer, but it's just a tip. It's just.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's just
the truth.
Yeah, it's a fact of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So, the phase.
We cannot get our hands on it. It has been sold out. Well, that's something that we have been looking forward to trying out, because we got, scent killer is about all we can get. I mean, there is some systems. We use scent crusher cabinets and stuff like that, ozone. But as a whole kit, there's really not a whole lot that goes into in depth as y'all's do.
Okay, well let me break down phase for you. And by the way, every product that we actually put out on the market, or that we get behind or design or whatever it is, it has to have a purpose of helping you become more successful as a hunter at some level.
Yep, right.
Now, we do have some stuff now that's like DIY taxidermy and things like that doesn't quite fall in that category, but we're expecting you're going to want to use that stuff because you're killing big stuff using our stuff, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So the phase system was designed unlike any other scent control system out there. It was designed specifically to take the human presence out of the hunting scenario. So there's, and you hear people saying it online all the time, there's no way you can get 100% scent free. That's the truth. It's not possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're manufacturing stuff all the time. Your environment, your clothing and your body and everything, you're absorbing some scent somehow, some way, whether it's your boots or your backpack or bow or whatever it is, that isn't necessarily a natural thing in the timber. Now, but that's not what turns a deer inside out. What turns a deer inside out? If you got great scent control and the deer picks up on something, maybe he or she will lift their head and they'll be like, well, what's that? Or they might get stiff and hold the foot up and then, well, I guess it's okay. They know something's there, but they don't know what it is. And then they calm down. Okay? And when they smell the human sweat or the human odor, it's not a reaction like that at all. 99% of the time, if you got a bad odor going out there, you just don't see the deer at all. They're picking you up way outside of your range, and you have no clue what's going on. The deer, you think, oh, there's no deer here. Well, if you smell and they're coming from that direction, they know you're there before you know they're there. So that's most of it. But if you take the human element out of it, and if they come in, when they see a human, you know their reaction. It's just like boom.
They stop and they go stiff, or they just go, and they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's no mistake, and you got busted.
Yeah.
And we've all been there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's what phase is designed to stop that from happening. So it starts out by what well, I mean, we don't need to get into a commercial here, but the technology actually encapsulates all the human natural body odor molecules. And it encapsulates it so when it goes to their olfactory, they can't process it and they don't know what it is. They don't smell you. Okay.
Right.
They may
They
pick up
smell
on-
something. They just don't know it's a human.
Yeah, they just have no idea. They may pick up on some kind of a chemical from the product, or maybe they might pick up on some rubber smell from your boots or something like that, or your backpack. But they're not smelling the human. Okay? And so you still play to win, don't get me wrong. You still play to
Right.
win. And it's okay if you want to spray down your equipment with other, with stuff like that. But to get that human odor, that human person out of your hunting, you need to use that phase system, the whole complete thing. So what you do is you wash yourself, get all that off of you, and then you, well, I don't need the shampoo conditioner, but so I just use the body wash.
There you go.
And so you do all of that, and I'm talking, wash yourself thoroughly, real good. Make sure you get all your high areas in your crotches and your armpits and that kind of stuff. And then the lotion is so important. Okay, the lotion absorbs inside of your skin, and it's good lotion. It's great stuff. And now you have that technology inside your skin as you manufacture those odor molecules. Okay, so that's suppressing all of that. And I'm talking, once again, rub those areas that need to be rubbed and get it in there everywhere, 100% on your body. And then do your clothes in it. So then as you're wearing your clothes and any kind of heat and moisture comes out of your body, and you're doing it all the time, especially when you walk with clothing, it filters it again, And then finally, if you get up into your stand, and hopefully, and I know you guys are really got to struggle with it down there because it's like 90 here today in Minnesota. It's brutal.
Actually, I think we had better weather here today than you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
bad.
81.
Yeah, and anyway, so if you get up there and if you do break a little sweat or if you do overheat, that's what that phase foamer is. Okay, it cools you down. It just, you can rub it everywhere on everything. You know what I mean? And that's
Clothes and all.
clothes and all, anything. Yep, but mostly bare skin is what it's made for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
But yeah,
And I
going back
chew-
to what you were.
Yeah, and then
Go
one
ahead.
last thing is I chew a gum, but unfortunately it has some kind of a flavor to it. So I chew it. It sounds stupid, but I'll chew it for like a day, and then I save it for my hunt. after I get all that, flavor. And everything out of it. It's called TheraBreath.
Okay.
TheraBreath, yeah. And so then that takes care of my mouth. And other people they'll like eat an apple or try to do your best to keep that breathing, because you're manufacturing that too, and the bacteria in your mouth as well. But so that's the phase thing, and I'm telling you, man. I tell people, I says, if you do it right, you honest to God, you can have deer coming walking into you right directly downwind. I joke, that's not a joke. They have no idea you're there. And if they pick up on something, they'll look, be like, well, is there something here? So, well, it ain't a human or nothing. And then they keep going.
Right.
It's crazy.
So yeah, with what you said a minute ago about the heat and stuff that we struggle with down here, because bow season here starts August 15th.
Yeah.
My.
We can be in the
It's
woods.
Summer.
Yeah, August 15th and ends January 1st. So we've got a long and almost entirely hot deer season. So when it comes to the phase, I don't know if there's a reason for it, or if y'all were working on something, you can just tell me to be quiet. Is there or will there be a deodorant in the phase system?
I had a deodorant, okay?
Okay.
And it was expensive, and it actually irritated and I'm sensitive, okay?
Right.
It irritated my underarms and other people, but not a lot of people, but other people. And the fact that they couldn't keep up with our demand, okay,
Yeah.
we just quit using it. So, what I did, why I feel I don't need it anymore, and why we quit producing it, that's the lotion. Use that
So that's
lotion
what you're using the lotion for.
very
Okay.
liberal underneath your arms, and it will take care of it.
Okay.
It will absolutely take
So,
care of it.
okay, good deal. So, would there be any positive or negative or no effect at all to combining ozone, any ozone system you want to use, with the phase system? Or how does that work, or does it not really play a factor at all?
Oh, I use it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll use it like I have a big commercial one. I have the little cheapies. But if I feel like I'm in an enclosed blind and I know I'm on a big buck and I don't have a good feeling about the wind or whatever, dude, just put it on a little bit, every on and off every now and then. But typically, you know, I won't play the wrong wind if I'm on the ground. But
Right.
yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, Patches picked up on us. Yeah, Patches picked up on us, but it didn't matter because you couldn't really tell what it was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I wanted to bring that up because we run a lot of scent crusher here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I know I'm all about ozone is good. Now I'm not one of the
Okay.
guys that has it up in the tree behind me. I'm not saying it.
Oh no, I don't
No,
either.
Should or shouldn't
they're a
do
little
it. But,
too pricey.
Yeah, when we hunt the
Yeah,
blinds
we're
up in
gonna-
Ohio, like you're saying,
yeah.
the wind's a little questionable. You're sitting in a blind, starting to get a little foggy in there. You want to crack a window. We'll cut the ozone for a minute. We'll open the window, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
but that's about it.
That's all good. That's all good stuff.
Well, good deal, man. Well, I probably got 100 more questions I can ask you, but I don't want to keep you all night.
Yeah.
Well, I got a million
So-
stories I can tell you too, but
Well, man, I would love to do it again, but I have very much so enjoyed this.
Me, myself, we can't thank you enough. It has been a complete honor just sit here and chit chat with you for a little while. And once again, we want to thank you for your time because
Wow.
it's been amazing.
yeah, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you following us. Appreciate you and your followers following us. And yeah, I appreciate the invite on the podcast. I'm glad I could find some time to make it.
Yeah, me too, man. I appreciate it again. Thank you.
All right,
If you ever want to do it again, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to.
that sounds great. Thanks.
Absolutely.
You bet.
All right, thanks, man.
Good luck this year.
Thanks,
You
buddy.
too.
You too.
Yep.